Chapter 6. Ivan. Ben's house always feels warm, and normally I like that. We're all sitting in the living room, me, my mother, Ben's parents, talking about inconsequential things. Dinner was good, the conversation was easy, and I find myself relaxed. But the moment the front door opened and Reverie walked in, everything inside me shifted. The look on her face, pale, shaken, eyes shining with unshed tears, hit me like a physical blow. And Freya behind her, tightly holding her hand, her jaw clenched in worry, that made it worse. Everyone noticed, and everyone was worried. But me? The worry wasn't even close to what I felt. I wanted to stand up, go to her, ask her what happened, find the cause, and tear it apart with my bare hands. I wanted to fix it, whatever it was, and it infuriated me that I couldn't. I stayed seated, my body rigid, while she disappeared down the hallway with Freya. My mother gave me a questioning look. Ben's parents exchanged glances. Ben stood halfway, as if ready to go after her. I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. Why did it bother me this much? Why did the idea of her crying behind that closed door make my chest feel too tight? Why did I want it to be me, not Freya, who comforted her? I had no answers. A few minutes later, my mother left. Ben's parents excused themselves. The house grew quiet, heavy. It was just me and Ben. He sat down on the opposite couch, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor, before saying quietly, "Ree's not okay." I keep my eyes on the carpet, breathing slowly, trying to keep the tension out of my voice. I think about telling him what I saw last night. Kevin grabbing her wrist outside her house, the way she flinched, the fear in her eyes. But if I tell Ben, he will go straight to her, and she's already in pieces tonight. I can't pile more weight on her. "I'm sure Freya's with her," I say, tone even. "Whatever happened, they'll talk, and if it was something bad, she'll tell you." Ben nods, but his jaw is tight.
I hate seeing her like that.
I don't say it, but I feel the same damn thing. More than I should. Eventually, we call it a night.
I woke up early the next morning, as always, and when I came downstairs, rubbing sleep from my eyes, I stopped mid-step. Freya is sitting on a kitchen island stool, elbows on her knees, head buried in her hands. She looks exhausted, like she didn't sleep at all. "What happened?" I ask. She looks up immediately.
"Nothing."
Lie. I move around her without pushing and start preparing coffee. Anger hums under my skin, not at Freya, but at the situation, whatever it is, that has Ree hurting and Freya looking like she's holding the sky up alone. While the coffee brews, I pull out my phone, scrolling absently, and then I see it. A video from a party last night. I clicked on play, and Kevin's voice fills the room. He's laughing, holding a drink, insulting Ree in front of everyone, calling her pathetic, calling her names. And then he leans in, whispers something into her ear, something so vile, so threatening that she physically wobbles. Her face gets filled with fear, shame, and pain. My blood goes cold. Slowly, deliberately, I slide my phone across the island until it stops right in front of Freya. "Explain," I say, voice low, controlled, too controlled. Freya tenses and looks away.
"I can't."
My jaw ticks. "Whatever happened was big. I can see it on your face, Freya. Tell me,"
"I promised her.
she whispers.
I promised Ree I wouldn't say anything. We'll handle it."
Handle it? No. No, they won't. Not alone. I exhale through my nose, fighting the urge to slam my fist into the counter. Freya's loyalty is fierce, unbreakable. She will never betray Ree unless there is no other option. I pour my coffee, ready to walk away before anger gets the better of me. But then Freya speaks again, soft, trembling.
"If I tell you,"
she whispers,
"you won't do anything, and you won't tell Benedict."
I turn to her, and for a moment I'm stunned. Freya, of all people, breaking a promise? That means it's something they can't handle, something Ree shouldn't be dealing with at all.
I step closer, inhale, and steady myself. "Tell me." "I won't tell Ben." She nods, takes a shuddering breath, and begins. She tells me everything. How they saw Kevin kissing Emma on a live stream. How Ree froze, hurt but trying to stay composed. How they went to the party. How Kevin humiliated her, called her names, and made her feel worthless. I close my eyes briefly. I want to break something. Then I ask, voice already darkening, "What did he whisper to her?" Freya stiffens, completely. She doesn't look at me, as she says,
"He threatened her. Said that if she tells Ben anything, or if Ben tries to hurt him, He'll leak their private pictures to the entire school.
Everything inside me shuts down. Then my vision tunnels. My pulse roars. Fire and ice race through my veins at the same time. Freya finally looks at me, eyes filling with tears.
Ivan, I'm scared. If anything happens, Ree won't be able to handle it. She might do something worse.
My fists clench so hard my nails bite into my palms. I breathe once, twice, 3 times. I'll handle it, I say. Freya opens her mouth, maybe to argue, but then a sharp knock echoes from the front door. I walk to the door, each step heavy with the fury I'm trying to leash. I pull it open, and Ben is standing there. His body is rigid, eyes are blazing in a way I've rarely seen, and his phone is clutched in his fist. He's seen the video.
Chapter 7. Ben showed up at our door like someone had carved the breath straight out of his lungs. Shoulders locked, jaw tight, and his phone clenched in his hand like it was the weapon that had gutted him. The moment I saw that phone, I knew that he'd seen the video too. I stepped aside, wordless, and he walked in. His eyes didn't even land on me twice. They shot straight down the hallway toward the kitchen, where Freya was. I followed him. Freya was still sitting exactly where I'd left her, small, pale, exhausted in a way that only guilt makes a person. Her head lifted when she heard footsteps, and when she saw Ben, something like resignation flickered across her face.
Hi.
Ben said quietly. It wasn't casual, not really. His voice was too tight for that, but he was trying not to explode and break, trying not to let his imagination spiral into every awful scenario involving his little sister.
Do you
Ben exhaled sharply, then forced the words.
know what happened yesterday? I saw the video.
Freya straightened, her eyes flickered once, toward me, before she said with cool finality.
You should ask Ree.
She won't talk to me.
Ben said. There was a tremor in the words, just a small one, but it tore something inside me.
Then I won't tell you either.
Freya replied.
It's her choice.
Her voice wavered just slightly at the end. She wasn't made for lying or for withholding, but she was loyal, fiercely loyal. Ben opened his mouth to push again. I cut him off. Just talk to her, I said. And if she doesn't tell you anything, then just make sure she's okay. Ben swallowed, hard. He looked at me with eyes that were silently begging for reassurance none of us could give.
You know we're leaving for LA today.
He said quietly.
I don't know how I'm supposed to take care of her from that far away.
You be there whenever she wants you, I said, forcing my voice to stay controlled. Check in on her, like you always do. She'll be okay. I was trying to convince him, or maybe I was trying to convince myself. Silence settled over the room. Heavy, aching, shared. All 3 of us are thinking about her. Her tired eyes, her quiet walk, her sadness she tried and failed to hide. She'd looked like something inside her had broken open, and she was desperately holding the pieces against her chest, hoping no one saw the cracks. Freya finally spoke, her voice soft but steady.
I'll make sure she's okay and happy when you both aren't here.
Ben nodded, eyes still glued to the floor like he was speaking to the tiles.
If you feel like something's wrong, tell me.
Freya nodded too, slowly, and then her gaze lifted to mine. There it was again. Worry. A question she couldn't ask, a plea she couldn't voice. Whether I will keep my promise. Whether I would protect Ree or destroy everything by acting on the fury threading through my bones. Ben left after that. Shoulders weighted, a brother helpless against something he couldn't see, couldn't name. The moment the door closed, Freya turned to me.
Ivan, don't do anything stupid.
I'm going to take care of Kevin.
Ivan.
Not telling Ben is one thing. My voice came out low, unshakable. But Kevin doesn't get to walk around thinking he can hurt her and breathe freely. Freya's eyes filled with panic.
Ree can't know. She'll be angry. She might not speak to me.
I'll keep it under control, I said. And I'll keep it to myself. Her shoulders sagged. A quiet surrender. But she nodded, and that was all I needed. Kevin's house looked different when you knew what kind of coward lived inside it. I parked across the street, walked to the front door, and knocked once. Kevin opened the door, and his face drained color when he saw me. Pure, instinctive fear. But he recovered quickly, plastering that pathetic smirk he uses to hide how weak he really was. I didn't give him the chance to speak. My hand hit his chest hard, shoving him backwards into the house, slamming the door shut behind us. He stumbled, and before he could regain balance, my fist connected with his jaw. The sound was solid. The rage in me had been simmering since yesterday, but now it surged like a wave, violent and cold. I grabbed his shirt and slammed him against the wall. "You think you can threaten her?" He twisted, broke out of my grip, and scrambled backward until he crashed into the base of the stairs. He was shaking. "What do you want?" he stammered. "To make sure you never look in Ree's direction again." He swallowed, terrified. "Good." I leaned down enough for him to feel the heat of my breath. "I know what your father's been doing at Hudson Lawyers." His breath hitched. "I'll ruin him," I said softly. Too softly. "And you, if you even breathe in the wrong direction." Kevin forced out a shaky laugh, but it died halfway. You don't have proof."
I pulled my phone from my back pocket, scrolled through it, and found the videos. I pressed play and held it in front of his face. He watched his father bribing someone, another video of ordering evidence to be destroyed, another of accepting cash envelopes. Kevin lunged. I stepped back and punched him again, the kind of punch that made his head snap. He hit the floor. I reached down, grabbed his phone from his pocket, and tucked it into mine. "What are you—" I ignored him. "Get up," I said. "We're going to your room." His legs shook as he stood and led me upstairs, into a room that smelled like expensive cologne and insecurity. "All devices," I ordered. He hesitated once. I lifted my phone, hovered my thumb over the screen, and he caved instantly. Kevin handed me his iPad and MacBook. I sat on his bed, knees wide, posture relaxed but dangerous, while he shrank into a corner opposite me. Coward, I pulled out the drive, one containing a program built for a singular purpose, erasing everything. Photos, videos, backups, cloud links, gone. He watched with wide eyes as I wiped every device he owned, clean.
When I finished, I grabbed his phone from my pocket, tossed it to the floor, and stepped on it. Once, twice, again, until it snapped into 3 uneven pieces. Kevin lunged helplessly to retrieve them. I stepped away. "Be grateful," I said. "Your dad can buy you new toys." I walked toward him, slow, deliberate. He flinched when I raised my hand. I placed it on his shoulder instead. My voice dropped into something lethal and calm. "Stay away from her. Stay away from everyone I care about." He nodded frantically, like a scared animal. I won't ever talk to her again. I'll forget she even exists." "Good." I gave him one last look, one that seared the warning into his bones. Then I left. The moment I got in my car, the silence hit me. Too loud and empty. I texted Freya. "Me. He won't do anything. Take care of her." Her reply came quickly. Smalls.
Okay, take care. Love you.
I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over Ree's contact info. I could call Ree, hear her voice, ask if she slept all right, if she needed anything, or if she needed me. But I didn't. I couldn't. I threw my phone onto the passenger seat, gripped the steering wheel, and drove back toward LA, toward the life I'd built, the one that felt increasingly useless without her in it, and all I could think was, if only I could make her mine.
Chapter 8. Reverie. It had been 2 weeks since that night, the night everything shattered, and the night I thought my entire world would come crashing down. 2 weeks since Kevin's voice had poisoned my ears. 2 weeks since he'd threatened me. 2 weeks since he'd made me believe I was one mistake away from ruin. And yet, all I'd received from him was one message, sent the next day. "We're done. I deleted everything. Don't contact me." That was it. No apology, no confrontation, no attempt to hurt me further. Just gone. And somehow the silence afterward felt stranger than the hurt before it. The first few days were unbearable. Every vibration of my phone froze my blood. Every notification made me feel like the whole school had finally seen everything. I barely ate, barely spoke, barely slept. Freya stayed by my side through it all, hovering anxiously, watching me too closely. Her constant worry made something inside me pinch, because my pain had become hers too. And my family, God, my family. My parents asked me every night what Kevin had done. Ben asked me every time how I was feeling. and I couldn't tell them. Couldn't risk Kevin changing his mind and then being disappointed in me. But slowly, so slowly it felt like learning to breathe again. The fear began melting away. Kevin wasn't doing anything. Kevin didn't even look my way at school. He avoided me like I was a ghost he didn't want to acknowledge. And maybe that should have stung, but mostly, it felt like release. A clean break, sharp, but necessary. Yet sometimes, when I let my mind go too quiet, I wondered why he didn't follow through, why he didn't leak anything, why he didn't do the cruel thing he'd promised. But then I shut those thoughts down and told myself to move on. I had bigger things to think about now. Like the letter sitting on my dresser, the one from UT Austin, congratulating me on my acceptance into their directing program. My dream, the beginning of everything I'd always wanted. And the best part? Freya was coming with me. She'd gotten into UT Austin too, for creative writing. The thought of leaving home was both warm and cold inside me. A new beginning, a terrifying goodbye. And no goodbye felt heavier than the one I hadn't even said yet. Ivan.
I told myself it was normal to think about him. Of course I'd think about him. We'd grown up next door to each other. He was part of my childhood, part of every stupid crush I'd ever had. But lately, thinking of leaving him behind felt like someone was pressing their hand against my ribcage and squeezing. Every time I imagined Texas without him, my breath caught, my heart stuttered, stomach twisted, and I hated myself for it, because he was forbidden, because he'd never looked at me that way, and Ben and Freya would be shattered if anything changed between us. So I pushed it down, focused on packing, dreaming, and preparing for a new chapter, but the ache stayed. It was our graduation ceremony morning. I was sitting in the kitchen, spinning my graduation cap between my fingers, when Ben walked in. He leaned against the counter with a soft smile.
How's the soon-to-be college girl feeling?
Happy, I answered honestly, and sad. I'm excited to start something new, but I'm going to miss all of this. His smile softened.
If you miss me, just say so. I'll drop everything and fly out.
I laughed. Then you need to actually run your art studio, not abandon it every time your little sister feels lonely. He rolled his eyes dramatically.
Please, I can multitask.
But then he goes all serious.
He
said quietly.
If you're ever not okay, ever, you call me, and I'll come, no matter what I'm doing.
The lump in my throat grew thick. I reached across and squeezed his hand. I promise, I whispered. Besides, I'll visit during the holidays, and Freya will be with me. We'll be fine. He shook his head, smiling with that soft pride that always made my heart squeeze.
I'm proud of you,
he said.
Really.
Graduation felt like living a perfect day inside a snow globe. Beautiful, frozen, fragile. The gowns, cheers, photographs, speeches, and certificates. Perfect. Freya and I stood side by side through all of it, arms linked, laughing, promising each other we'd make Texas ours. Our families watched us with shining eyes. My parents looked emotional. Ben wouldn't stop taking pictures. Freya's mom cried twice. And then there was Ivan. Every time I turned, even slightly, my gaze found him. Or maybe it was him finding me. He stood near Ben, hands in his pockets, posture relaxed, but his eyes, those eyes. Every time they met mine, something in my chest tightened painfully. He looked at me like he was memorizing me, like he wanted to speak but swallowed the words down, like he was craving something he didn't allow himself to reach for. And I felt the same. A pull, a connection, a silent wanting that pressed beneath my ribs and stole my breath. I tried to ignore it and pretend my heart didn't leap whenever I caught him staring from the corner of my eye. But every time our eyes met, the world blurred at the edges. Tomorrow, I will be leaving California for 4 whole years. And all I wanted, more than I should, was to take a piece of him with me. A hug, a moment alone, a memory to hold on to, a kiss. But I shut those thoughts down immediately. And all I got instead were the lingering looks we shared, across crowds, across hallways, across shifting sunlight. Looks that felt like quiet promises, heartbreak, and everything I wasn't allowed to want. But that didn't stop my brain and heart from thinking about him and craving him. Chapter 9. Reverie. Dinner at Freya's house felt like the kind of memory people photographed instinctively.
Warm lights, clinking silverware, our parents talking over one another, Benedict teasing Freya, Freya threatening to stab him with a fork, everyone laughing. Everyone was present and content. And yet, I felt hollow in the center of all that happiness. Like someone, wasn't where they were supposed to be. Which was ridiculous, because Ivan was here, sitting across the table, quiet, focused on eating or listening, sometimes answering something Ben said with that calm, low voice of his. But it wasn't enough. It felt like I kept waiting for a moment that wasn't arriving, a moment that belonged only to the two of us. God, I sound obsessed, I thought, and had to bite down a laugh before it escaped. Presents were exchanged, Freya's mother crying, again, my mother lecturing me on staying safe in Texas, my father telling old stories we'd heard 1,000 times. And then, like all endings, the night folded in on itself gently, closing with hugs and good nights and promises to text when we reached Austin. When I finally walked back into my house, the quiet hit me harder than I expected. Tomorrow, Texas, change. It felt huge and fragile at the same time. I went upstairs to double-check all my packing. I didn't need to. Everything was already zipped tight and labeled, but keeping busy made my nerves settle. When I finished, a sudden thirst pushed me out of my room. I opened the door slowly, noticing the hallway lights were off, which meant my parents and Ben were already in bed. I padded down the stairs quietly, the wood cool against my feet. The kitchen was pitch black when I stepped inside. And then I ran straight into someone, solid, warm, breathing. My heart slammed so hard it felt like it might tear straight through my ribs. A scream climbed my throat on pure instinct, but before it could escape, a hand covered my mouth. Not rough, not panicked, but firm, controlled, and gentle in a way that somehow made it worse.
Shh.
A low voice murmured near my ear, close enough that I felt the vibration of it against my skin.
It's me, Ivan.
Everything inside me froze. My pulse stuttered, then raced, heat blooming under my skin as my eyes slowly adjusted to the dark. I could make out his shape, broad shoulders, tall frame, the unmistakable presence that always seemed to take up more space than it should. He lowered his hand carefully, like he was afraid I might shatter. I sucked in a shaky breath, pressing my palm to my chest. My voice came out barely louder than a whisper. You almost gave me a heart attack. I couldn't see his face clearly, but I felt the smile in his voice.
Sorry.
I swallowed, suddenly too aware of how close he was. What are you doing here? I hissed. Why didn't you turn on the lights?
Ben and I were at my place,
he said.
playing games. We ran out of snacks, so I came here to get some.
Oh, the word felt small, like everything I didn't say wrapped into a single breath. I expected him to leave then, to grab whatever he needed and disappear back into the night. That would have been easier. But he didn't move. Instead, he asked,
How are you feeling?
I'm fine, I said automatically, reflexively.
I meant...
He corrected gently.
About college?
The darkness softened as my eyes adjusted, and suddenly I could really see him, how close he was, close enough that the warmth of him curled around me, steady and undeniable, close enough that I could smell him, clean skin and something darker beneath it, like warm wood and faint smoke, as if the night itself clung to him. It wasn't a sharp scent or anything deliberate.
It was quiet, masculine, grounding. It wrapped around my senses and sank straight into my chest, making my breath hitch for reasons that had nothing to do with fear and everything to do with how safe and dangerous he felt at the same time. I'm happy, I said, and this time it was true. I really am. My voice faltered. I'm also sad. Leaving feels heavier than I thought it would, and harder because of you, I almost said. The words burned behind my teeth, but I didn't let them out. Ivan hummed quietly, low in his throat, like he understood more than I was saying. The silence stretched between us, not empty, not awkward, charged, thick, the kind that made my skin feel too tight. I stepped back abruptly, needing space, needing air. Did you, got what you came for? I asked, turning toward the fridge. I opened it, poured a glass of water, drank too fast. Then I poured another, anything to give my hands something to do. I could feel him behind me, hear his steady breathing. It slid down my spine, awareness prickling everywhere. When I turned around, I nearly collided with him again. He was closer now, as he ran a hand through his hair, fingers threading through it like he was wrestling with a thought he didn't want to voice. "What?" I blurted, nerves buzzing. His gaze locked onto mine. Serious, controlled, something restrained burning underneath.
Did Kevin contact you?
He asked quietly.
After everything that happened?
I blinked. No, we haven't talked. His shoulders loosened, just slightly, but I noticed.
Good.
He murmured, almost to himself. I thought that would be the end of it. I thought he'd step back. He didn't. He stayed where he was, close enough that my heart forgot how to beat properly. He looked at me like he was seeing something he'd been trying not to look at for a long time. My gaze betrayed me, dropping to his mouth, full, soft-looking, curved with something unreadable. When he smirked, slow, knowing, heat rushed to my face.
Tell me,
He said softly, stepping closer.
if you feel it too.
My breath tangled painfully. Feel what? His fingers lifted my chin, gentle but sure, tilting my face up until I had no choice but to meet his eyes.
Something.
He said.
Anything.
His voice dropped, rougher now.
Because I feel like I'm craving someone who has no idea what she does to me.
Something inside me broke open, slowly, achingly, like a door I'd been holding shut for years finally getting way. All the things I'd buried, the wanting, the wondering, the pretending, came rushing out at once. My hands moved before my mind could stop them, gripping the front of his shirt, knuckles tight, breath shaking. "Kiss me," I whispered. His breath hitched.
Are you sure?
I nodded. "Yes, Ivan, please." He didn't hesitate. His arms came around me, firm and protective, pulling me against him like he'd been waiting to do it forever. One hand settled at his waist, the other sliding up my back, and then his lips were on mine, and the world disappeared. The house, the fear, the rules, gone. His kiss was warm and desperate and careful all at once, like he was holding himself back even as he gave in. I kissed him back without thinking, without fear, like my body had been waiting for this moment my entire life. When he pulled back just enough for us to breathe, the look in his eyes nearly shattered me. Soft, hungry, full of emotion he hadn't said out loud. I kissed him again, fingers sliding into his hair, finally touching what I'd imagined touching too many times. He groaned quietly, and the sound went straight through me. He moved us back toward the kitchen island, and behind us, the glass I had left moments earlier tipped and shattered. The crash snapped reality back into place. I pulled away, breathless, staring at the broken pieces on the floor as everything I'd been avoiding came rushing in. Freya, Ben, our families, all the lines we'd just crossed. I looked at Ivan, horror twisting through me. He looked hurt. Not angry, not regretful. Hurt.
Ree?
He said softly, stepping toward me.
Hey, just breathe.
No, I choked. We shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have asked you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't wait for him to respond. I turned and ran. Up the stairs, down the hall, into my room. I shut the door and slid down against it, chest heaving. Only then did everything crash over me. His kiss, his hands, the way his breath caught when I touched him, the way he said he craved me. No one had ever made me feel like that, seen like that, wanted like that, and I'd ruined it. I curled onto my bed, staring at the ceiling, tears burning but refusing to fall. All I could see was the hurt in his eyes when I pulled away. I wished things were simpler. I wished love didn't come tangled in consequences and loyalties and people who mattered too much. I wished I could choose my heart without breaking everyone else. I wished he was mine. But he wasn't. And as sleep finally pulled me under, all I could think was how cruel it felt. To finally know what it meant to want someone completely, only to leave him behind.
Chapter 10. Ivan. The moment she told me to kiss her, something inside me gave up. Not snapped, not shattered, but let go. I had spent years controlling what I felt for Reverie, burying it beneath routine, distance, and logic, convincing myself that discipline was strength and restraint was maturity. But when her fingers curled into my shirt, when her voice trembled as she asked for me, all that control turned meaningless. I didn't want to be careful anymore. I wanted her to feel what she did to me every time she walked into a room.
Every time she looked at me like she was trying not to. Every time her breath hitched because I stood too close. I had wanted her for years, and now that I had tasted her, just once, the wanting turned feral. I knew what Ben would say if he knew. She's off limits. He'd told me that often enough. But off limits had never stopped feeling. And the truth was, I had always known she knew. The way her eyes lingered, the way her body reacted before her mind could catch up, the way she pretended she didn't feel anything, while feeling everything. I liked watching her unravel like that, liked knowing that I affected her, which was exactly why I had drawn that invisible line between us in the first place. Because once crossed, it could never be erased. And then the glass shattered. The sound snapped something in her, and I watched regret flood her face in real time. Fear, guilt, shame. She stepped away like she'd been burned, and I felt it, sharp, sudden, unforgiving. I wanted to grab her, demand answers, ask her what that kiss had meant if she could walk away from it so fast. But instead, I did what I always did. I swallowed it. I let her run. I left the house with my chest caved in and told myself the lie that made everything easier to survive. It was a mistake. She was leaving for Texas in the morning. There was no future here. No space for something as complicated as us. And yet, the idea of anyone else touching her again made something violent coil in my gut. I didn't sleep much that night. I promised myself something in the dark, that when the time was right, when the world wasn't stacked against us, I would come for her. And next time, I wouldn't let her go.
Morning came too fast. Ben and I loaded suitcases into the car while Freya and Ree said their goodbyes to their parents. I kept my movement steady, my face neutral, my thoughts tightly caged. Ben went inside to double-check Ree's things. And suddenly, she was standing beside me, close enough that my body remembered everything before my mind did. I don't turn toward her. I already know if I do, I'll see it in her face. That careful, apologetic look she gets when she's about to choose the safer option.
I didn't mean to freak out like that.
She says softly.
Last night,
She stops. I wait.
I think the kiss was a mistake.
The word lands like a dull blade. Mistake. I've been telling myself that since I left her kitchen, repeating it like a command, like something I can force into truth if I say it enough times. But hearing it from her hurts in a way I didn't prepare for, because nothing about that kiss felt accidental to me. Nothing about it felt wrong. It felt like something that had been building for years, finally finding air. I keep my eyes forward, jaw tightening once. I don't trust my voice if I turn to her. Do you regret it? I ask. The words come out rougher than I intend. Low, tight. She turns to look at me. I feel it even before I see it. Surprised by the question. Like she hadn't considered that there might be a cost on my side too. But she just shakes her head and looks away. Still, something sharp flickers in my chest. Hope. Relief. Something dangerous.
But it still shouldn't have happened.
She adds quietly.
It complicates things. I think we should forget it. Let things stay the same.
The same. The same means pretending I don't know the weight of her against me. The same means pretending I don't remember how she kissed me back. The same means swallowing everything I've felt for her since we were kids and calling it responsibility. I nod. Slow. Controlled. I can't let her see what that sentence does to me. I can't let her see that the idea of the same feels like a punishment I never earned. Nothing's going to happen between us, I say evenly. I force the words out like they don't tear something loose in my chest. You're starting a new chapter. You should focus on your studies, your future. I mean it. That's the worst part, because if I say anything else, if I tell her that the kiss wasn't a mistake to me, that I've wanted her longer than I should have, that wanting her has been the one thing I've never been able to shut down, I would become the thing standing in her way. And I won't be that. So I stay still. I stay quiet. I let her choose distance, even though every instinct in me is screaming to pull her back. She nods, relief crossing her face. and I understand something with brutal clarity. Loving her doesn't mean keeping her. It means letting her walk away, even when it costs me everything. And that was it. Freya and Ben returned. Doors closed. The car started. I watched her through the drive, memorizing the way she tucked her hair behind her ear, the way she stared out the window like she was already halfway gone.
Freya looks smaller here, backpack slung over one shoulder, excitement fighting with nerves in her eyes. I step closer. "You good?" I ask. She nods quickly.
Yeah. Nervous, excited, terrified. All of it.
A faint smile tugs at my mouth. "That means you're doing it right." She laughs, then sobers, studying my face the way she's always done when she knows something's wrong but doesn't know how to ask. Freya's always been like that, quietly observant, too perceptive for her own good.
You're okay too?
She asks carefully. I don't answer right away. Because the truth is layered. Because I don't trust my voice with it. "I will be," I say instead. "And you, if you ever need anything at all, you call me. I don't care what time it is. I don't care where I am." Her eyes soften.
I know.
I hesitate, then add, lower. "Take care of her, too." Freya doesn't pretend not to understand who I mean.
I will.
She says instantly.
You don't have to worry about that.
I nod, but the tension in my chest doesn't ease. She steps forward and wraps her arms around me, hugging me hard. I hold her just as tightly, one hand coming up to cradle the back of her head, grounding myself in the familiarity of her.
I love you.
She says into my chest, simple and sincere. "I love you too," I reply without hesitation. She's one of the few people those words come easily with. When we pull apart, she tilts her head slightly, eyes searching my face again.
You're not going to disappear, right?
She asks softly.
Just because we're not here anymore.
I shake my head. Never. You're stuck with me. She smiles at that, really smiles, and I feel a strange, quiet relief settle in my bones. Freya steps back toward Ree, slipping her hand into hers like it's the most natural thing in the world. I wanted to hug Ree too, hold her, breathe her in until it hurts less. Instead, I just looked at her, let her see everything I couldn't say. Longing, regret, something dangerously close to devotion. Then she turned, and they walked away, and I stood there knowing one thing with brutal certainty. I wouldn't survive long with the two women I loved most. But someday, I would go to her, and at that time, I wouldn't ask permission.